So for the plant hygiene, for more plant health, we need some greenhouse equipment. And the essential to have indoors are ventilation, air system, so for aeration system. Cooling is really important. So you see those places here. This is actually a cooling system which help the kind of equilibrate about the humidity, the moisture, and sometimes if it's especially hot outside, we can moderate, we can play on the cooling system. Sometimes some people use also what we call mist system or fog system, and those are depending on the crop you have of the plant or the plant you have. Irrigation system is one of the greenhouse equipments. Those irrigation or drip irrigation systems are really important. So those will help you to manage watering, enough water, not too much watering, and also those avoid you to use those sprinkler watering, which are kind of not good things. Right now people know that sprinkler are not really good, if not in maybe in your garden, use it for the garden. So sprinkler are not good for watering the crop. Fertilizing treatment is really important. Fertigation sometimes when there is watering and also giving some nutrients in the plants, and those systems are sophisticated yet they are possible. So those kind of information are important. You may get more information about this in the internet, wherever you want, but those just to know that are the equipment of greenhouse. Mulch system is one of the important equipment in the greenhouse, especially if you are doing more sophisticated greenhouses only with substrate, sometimes also with hydroponic system. Those systems are more often used and more used these days. For sanitation, the most important thing to know and the essential things to clean indoor are water treatment system, and there is different water treatment system. It goes from chlorination. Sometimes you may use this scent filtration or other filtration. Whatever is the filtration you may use is water treatment system. Bath in entrance. Do you remember what I've seen about the habits? So there is some places that call food bath that you are required to use sometimes in some greenhouses, some nurseries. And this bath entrance, you get inside, there is sometimes this bleach and some chemicals and to just clean your under feet before getting indoor. Sterilizing substrate with steam, for example. This helps the seedlings and help the acclimatation, and also help the plant to be disease-free and grow in a clean substrate. Entrance room with 2 doors. This entrance room is really important because even sometimes there is some entrance room that have some places where you can change your clothes. If you can do this, this is maybe better. So entrance door helps you, whatever gets inside, you should check if you do not have anything on your coat or your feet. So, and then you get inside, and this also help on the entrance of pests, which means meaning that there is hardly a way that a pest gets inside. Eliminating infected plants and debris. You see those things here in the floor of the greenhouse. You can even see maybe this one is a mulch system, but there is still some infected plants and infected fruits, and those actually should be removed. should be removed, and in this way you make the indoor clean, and this will help the sanitation. We may introduce right now some crop pests, and in this way I will let you know some of the beasts, some of the pests, their life cycle, how to diagnose them, and their control. So let's start with the first pests. Before talking about the pests, you should know that almost the insect damaging pests are classified by damage symptoms, which means that whatever the insect is, it's most often what are the damages they do in the plants. It may be an insect that are biting and chewing, and those are biting and chewing insects, so they are classified biting and chewing insects. It may be a piercing and sucking insect, and those are the piercing insects. And it may be a rasping and sucking insect, and we will see each of them as the example. Okay, so let's start with biting and chewing insects. So biting and chewing insects, those are like mines and webbed leaves. They are leaf miner. The example of a leaf miner. They could be defoliated and skeletonized leaves. Example of caterpillar and looper. A caterpillar, they could be looper and armyworms. We have those examples right in this course. And they could be insects that make holes in leaves and pots. And the example is beetles and borers. So let's start with the leaf miner. A leaf miner have an important cycle. It starts with laying eggs from an adult leaf miner, and we have some time to get on the first instar larva to the third instar larva. So these larvae are the damaging problem before going to the pupa and start and transform them to an adult. So leaf miner damaging cycle is the larva time. So if we know the time of larva, we would know where before, how to act, and what are the kind of treatment we do. And if we know about the larvae and how they look like and diagnose some of those mines and webbed leaves, we would know that this is a leaf miner. So how to diagnose? Minor symptoms and signs are especially those punctuation and minors and webs in upper surface of leaves. So up in the up of the leaves, for example, of tomato, or maybe in the citrus, in an orange or whatever, you get those larvae. If you can see this one is a larva, and it is making like a tunnel. So they are called minors or webs. See, they are webbing here, and here is another web. Here is an example of a larva of a leaf miner. Okay, So, and they are attacking the upper leaves. This is a way to know how this leaf miner attack. So how to control the leaf miner? There is a lot of things here, and I will make you sure to have time to get through all these kind of control. But for IPM management, I can give some examples. For example, you may hand crush or destroy larvae once you see them inside the leaves. You may destroy all infested leaves and other plant material, and this is really important. You may do some what we call tillage, ploughing, hoeing, flooding. This can help reduce the leaf miner flies and expose the pupa, which is buried. Okay, and then it will be killed with predators. Use traps and ribbons to trap the leaf miner fly. You can also use some treatments by pesticides or BCA, and there is a lot of things to do here. Just to know that to spray chemical is especially for curative, but you should be careful on how and how much to apply. So this is only about training. There is some wasps that are used as biocontrol agents, okay, that actually attack and parasite the miner larvae. Let's talk about another biting and chewing insect, which are defoliated and skeletonized leaves. For example, caterpillar, looper, and army worms. So what about caterpillar? Caterpillar biocycle is different from armyworms to looper. However, they have almost the same days of larva time, and this is really important to know, because once you know that armyworm have 14 to 19 days of larva life, this will allow you to know the protection way to act against armyworm. Same for the looper. Looper are caterpillar that chew and bite, defoliating those leaves and attacking those, and this make really bad damages in the crops. So let's know about the looper. To diagnose looper, we have some signs and symptoms. First signs, you should find a looper on the surface of the leaves. And you should know that the caterpillar of the looper has typically what we call a looping movement. See here? When it is moving, it makes a looping movement. Okay? The larvae consume large amounts of leaves and occasionally pods and fruits. Here is the example of damages. While the moth, the fly, feeds solely on flower nectar. For armyworms, the caterpillar have typical Y-shaped on the head. See here? This is a Y kind of things on the head of the armyworm caterpillar. And it contains 4 dots which are distributed on their bodies. Okay? So this is how to know the armyworm. To diagnose armyworm, there is other signs to see, like the whitish hair and egg masses, which are really important signs during scouting. These egg masses laid under leaves, sometimes found upper surface of leaf. Okay? They are most often creamy, green or brown egg mass. So this is how to know the armyworm. Sometimes you may see some skeletonized leaves. This is also symptoms of armyworm larva. There is another thing. You can see some silk, okay, and some larvae, and you think that it is a spider, but it is larva with a silk. They do this because they need the wind, and the wind will get them to other plants to make more damages. So how to control these caterpillar? There is a lot of things to say, but please, I will just read, you can read those after the course. I will give some IPM caterpillar management. You can use crop other than cereals, like manioc. You can plant, repeal, or confuse pest plants like manioc, and there is plants that are repellent, and they are most repellent of moths, females, and this will prevent them to lay eggs on corn. You can use certified quality seed pathogens, free seeds that give vigors to plants, and this will be hardly attacked by the armyworm, moths, or other caterpillar. Of course, traps are really important for scouting and making decisions for treatments. Spray neem oil. This is really important by pesticide action against caterpillar, and use some wasp against them. Wasp. Here is the name, Alwides lafigma. And there is other parasitoids against caterpillar. You can use that will eat or parasite the caterpillar, and that will control the damages and of course the pest. Last, biting and chewing insects. Those that make holes in leaves and pods, like beetles and borers. The cycle of beetles and borers is kind of similar. You should know that there is two kinds of borer that are really important. I think you have those and you would know them. Maruca vitrata and Helicoverpa amigera. And to know those kind of borer, it is by their larva insert. And if you look at those larvae, they look like armyworm, but they are not armyworm, because there is no Y on the head, and there is no regular kind of 4 dots on. You may see some 4 dots, but it is with experience you would make difference. And I think if you compare with the larva of borer with the larva of armyworm, you get to make the difference between them. How to diagnose them? You may diagnose them with the symptoms they make. Borer make holes on the pods, okay? Because they get inside and they make holes. See the holes? It attacks different pulses, and I think those pulses are made also in the sub-Saharan, much often also in Nigeria. Pig and pea, chickpea, cowpea, gram soybean, groundnuts, and African yam bean. The borer have a characteristic egg structure. And if you have these cutting skills, you may know how it looks like the egg of borer. How to control a borer? There is a lot of things to do as an IPM for borer management. You can use resistant tolerant varieties. There is some against Maruca. Be sure to use pheromone traps and help yourself by disrupting debris, crop residues, weeds, and other alternate hosts. there is some important biological control agents like trichogramma. If you have this picture here, this is a larva of Maruca, and up those fungi that parasite the Maruca, the larva of Maruca is called trichogramma. Okay, this is a fungi that parasites, and this is kind of biocontrol action. We will continue on the insect diagnosis and IPM, talking about piercing and sucking insect and rasping and sucking insect in the coming classes. Thank you.